Let's move on to a team that does have the personnel to get to the Super Bowl right now, as is, if nothing changes, Detroit Lions.
Mm.
I mean, they're loaded pretty much everywhere. And what I'm hearing around the league is this. It's kind of the way it used to be when you played San Francisco a few years back. And I want to know if this ever happened in your career. When you play a team like the Lions this season, you are feeling them the next week when you play your game. They are so physical, the type of style of football that they play, and it bleeds into your next game. To drive home this point, let's see this. First game, the Rams, the next week after they played the Lions, lost to the Cardinals 41-10. Bucks beat the Lions, but the next week they lost to the Broncos 26-7. Cardinals lost to the Lions. The next week they lose to the Commanders 42-14. Seahawks play the Lions. Next week they lose to the Giants 29-20. Every team that has played the Lions has lost the next week, and in some of them in kind of embarrassing fashion. Steve, what is this from a player's perspective that we're seeing the impact? Because I'm kind of hearing it takes something out of you to play this team.
Well, because they understand their identity. The Detroit Lions, led by Dan Campbell, understand what kind of Dan is an old school too, right? So he understands exactly
yeah.
how and what you want to do, and imposing your will and just trying to play the long game. If you're a physical team, and think about this in comparison, physical teams and physically prepared is one of the things that's different. Dan, within the rules, understands what it looks like to play old school physical football. So the Underwear Olympics and looking good is no longer about that for Dan and that team. When you look at all these teams, look at the San Francisco 49ers, how beat up they are. Look at all of the players, how beat up they are right now. Because the biggest issue I believe that's going on in the National Football League has to do with the safety, and the safety of the players has almost become hazardous to themselves because we are making sure that we don't get hurt in preseason, but you don't have any muscle endurance for the long haul of the season. You know, they hit in the regular season. They run,
They do.
jump, get tackled, fall, run 2 minute. Well, all of a sudden you see guys where they make a touchdown and all of a sudden they're coming up limp in the middle of the play. That's just a lack of physicality that they don't have in these training camps anymore. They're not practicing anymore during preseason, so they're just really kind of dipping their toe in the water and learning how to swim in the swimming pool. But unfortunately, when you get in the ocean and you have the riptides and you have all of the elements, then all of a sudden you realize, ooh, this is a little bit different. And that's what the Detroit Lions are, to pull it back full circle. The Detroit Lions are the ocean. The Detroit Lions are like when you run, you go jog on the street, the elements, right? The pounding of the pavement. All of those things that you're not prepared because you're at the comfort of your home and you have the treadmill and it doesn't incline or decline. You just have it go straight and you're just jogging along, looking all cute. But all of a sudden, you get out on that pavement and it just a little sting. You're like, oh. You know, that first, listen, right now in the first 2 quarters, it's the first mile. And if you're a runner, you know in the first mile, you feel everything. You know if your shoelaces are too tight. You know if your socks. Did I wear the right T-shirt? My headphones are slipping. Like, you start to feel and notice things about your body in that first mile that you didn't even know exist. You know what that's called? Being uncomfortable. That's called being out of shape when you're not ready. And that's what the Detroit Lions bring to this game. They're bringing a physicality. They may not win the game, but they sure got you questioning yourself after and moving forward of how tough is your team.
Yeah, you look at that offensive line, the way David Montgomery runs you over, Steve. They know how to get physical. If you want to see how preparation maybe could be, some of these teams should go up to St. Joseph, Missouri, and see how Andy Reid runs a training camp, because those guys are going long drive, day in and day out. They are grinding up there. It's one of the biggest things that Andy Reid always emphasizes during training camp. I thought of this. I got to mention it real quick. You mentioned Dan Campbell's an old school coach. You look at Dan Campbell, the build that he has, Steve. Give me maybe, is there a coach that could go out and give you a few snaps? Is it Dan Campbell? The other one that comes to mind is maybe D'Amico Ryans, who can give me a handful of snaps as a head coach right now on a Sunday.
Oh, I would say a lot of coaches could give you a handful of snaps, or maybe it's like long snappers, holders.
I, th-
But
I think D'Amico could give you 10
I think he
snaps.
could too.
Playing what he played when he played in
Oh
the
my
league.
goodness! Yeah, here's the
He's in
problem
great
though.
shape.
He'd give you 10 snaps and then he'd be on IR for the next 3 years. Because
He could coach in a chair.
man, it's just as
Coach in a chair.
when you're playing in the game and that adrenaline and all that stuff, man, it's great. I played in a flag football tournament a couple of years back. It was like a turkey bowl for charity. We had 3 games.
Yep.
3 games. Bro, I lasted a game and a half and strained both hamstrings. Both on one play. Like the first game, I was feeling good. Second game, pow. I was playing DB and receiver. Bro, I grabbed a dude so bad.
Oh, Travis Hunter out there.
I was so bad. I was like, oh, I already know this is going. But I couldn't let him catch it on me because that was my last play. Bro, by the third game,
like,
they
guys,
made it.
you know what? You guys got the great Steve Smith for a minute. I'm out.
Hey, they made it to the championship or like the playoffs. And my son texted me, Pop, how you feeling? Bro, I was in the tub when they played the third game in Epsom salt, playing Stevie Wonder, baby.
Playing Stevie Wonder.
Dunzo.